This is Liana Lowenstein, child and family therapist in Toronto, Canada. Today I'm going to talk about a technique called the family card game. I think one of the most challenging tasks of family therapists is engaging all family members in family sessions. The family card game is a technique that can be used to engage all family members. It's a practical and creative technique that uses the game format to engage and assess the family. I'm going to show you two different versions of this technique. The first is called the first session family card game, which can be used in the initial session with the family. And then I'm going to present the last session family card game, which can be used in the termination phase. So all you need for this technique is a deck of playing cards and the question cards. The question cards you can make up on your own, or you can use the questions from this book, Creative Family Therapy Techniques. The first session family card game is a technique that you can use in the initial session with the family. I introduce the activity by explaining to the family that they're going to take turns picking the top card from the deck of playing cards. And if they pick an even number, like a 2, a 4, a 6, and so on, then they pick up the top card from the deck of question cards and they answer the question. But if they pick an odd number, like 3, a 5, 7, etc., then they pick up the first question, the top question from the deck of question cards, and they get to choose someone in their family to answer that question. If they pick a jack, then that person has to do 10 jumping jacks. And that's kind of just a way to add some fun to the game and to channel energy into a positive outlet. But if they pick a queen or a king, then that player gets a cookie. And then at the end of the game, everyone who played the game gets a cookie. So the purpose of including the cookies in the game is to just add extra incentive to the game. It adds an element of fun and playfulness. So I'd like to share with you some of the questions in the first session family card game. So this one says, fill in the blank. Our family is here today because, and then the family can explain what brought them to therapy. So it's a good question for trying to assess the presenting problem. Or true or false, when families see a therapist, they often feel nervous, embarrassed, and overwhelmed. The purpose of this question is to normalize the feelings that families often have when they first see a therapist. True or false, only crazy people go to therapy. Obviously, the purpose of that question is to also normalize feelings that often family members have when they see a therapist. What would need to happen in the session today to make you feel like it was worthwhile coming? That's often an interesting question and gives me a sense, the response gives me a sense of what the family's goals are and what they're hoping to gain from seeing a therapist. This one says, switch seats with the person you think is most willing to change in your family. That's an interesting one. Another one is true or false, everyone in our family plays a part in making it better. I like to ask that question because it really instills the message that everyone in the family needs to contribute to the therapy in order for it to be more successful or more effective. So those are just a sampling of some of the questions that I have in the first session family card game. Certainly you can make up your own questions, you can modify the questions to fit the needs of the family that you're seeing, as well as the age of the children in the family. The second version of the game is the last session family card game, and this game is used in the termination phase, in the last session that the family has. And so examples of some of the questions that I have for the last session family card game are, how do you feel about ending therapy? So the purpose of that question is to give the family an opportunity to share how they feel about therapy ending, which I think is an important component to talk about in a last session in family therapy. This one, what is your family able to do better now? So one of the things that you want to do in the termination phase with the family is to really magnify the achievements and the successes that the family has made throughout their time in therapy. And so that question is one way to do that. Change seats with the person who you think worked the hardest in therapy. Fill in the blank. My proudest moment in therapy was when I. And often, again, that's a way for the family as well as the therapist to highlight the proud moments and the achievements that the family has made. Tell about something you've learned about someone in your family during your time in therapy. What advice would you give to another family who are experiencing a similar problem that brought you to therapy? That question also, I think, is a helpful one to have in the game because it really helps the family feel empowered and then for them to be able to talk about what they've learned and how they would use what they've learned to help others. The last question that I like to include in this version of the game, the last session family card game, reads as follows. Families often teach therapists valuable lessons. Ask your therapist to tell something your family has taught him or her. I like to include this question as the last question in the game because it then gives me the opportunity to say something like, your family has taught me that you're really strong and you've gotten yourself through something really difficult and you've really helped each other to get through a difficult time. Or I might say something like your family has taught me how much love you have for one another, even through really difficult times. Or I might say something like, your family has really made it through a very difficult time. And so you've taught me that even when we're faced with really, really difficult things, we can make it through, especially if we come together and support each other through something really tough. So it's really a way for me to highlight how the family work together to get to where they are now as they terminate the therapy. The family card game uses the game format to initiate discussion among family members. It's an opportunity for the therapist to highlight certain things that the family says and to use the questions as a way to expand on significant issues that come up through the game and through the question cards. It instills a sense of playfulness through the game format, and it's a technique that can be used with families with a wide variety of presenting issues. So I really welcome your feedback on this technique. I'd love to hear your ideas for the techniques that you use when you're doing family sessions. So please feel free to post your comments on this YouTube channel. Thank you.